Hello, welcome to Jenny's Food Network. Alright, I'm going to do a video on, a person had sent me a message about, in regards to my video titled, "Is there an easier way to eat kale since it's tough to chew on?" Part 1. And so and the person responded back, and I'm responding back now. So the person said, "Thanks, I've made some kale yesterday. I washed them off in a strainer. Then I put them in a microwave for 8 minutes. And then I put a little salt on them. It tastes wonderful. Thanks again, Jen." So the thing is, 8 minutes in a microwave? That's way too long. Just a word of advice. There's microwaves that are very weak that takes forever to microwave something. And the microwave I have at home is the 1200 watts, which is super, super high, very strong. It's even stronger than a whole bunch I've tried in my whole lifetime. So they're even stronger. The one I have at home is even stronger than some commercial grade microwaves, okay? So the commercial grade microwave that I used to have was like 1000 watts, you know? And that's pretty high. But the one I have at home is 1200 watts, which is super strong. There's microwaves that run for about 60 bucks, $60 to $70. Oh, those are the weakest. Like, instead of warming something up for about 2 to 2.5 minutes with a 1200 watts power of microwave that I have at home, I would only have to warm up food for about 2 to 3 minutes, and it's super hot already, okay? And like a bowl of food or a plate of food, about 2 to 3 minutes, all right? And for one slice of pizza, you only need to use it for like 25 to 30 seconds. And this pizza is super hot already, okay? And we used to have one of those cheap $60 microwaves, you know? It would take like, I would say, it would take like 5 to 8 minutes sometimes just to warm up a plate of food or a plate of bowl, or a plate of food, or like a bowl of food. That was like the really cheap watts. Those are the ones that are like, I would say, under 1000 watts. I'm not sure how many watts they were, but they were really like taking forever to microwave something. So anyways, so I told the person, because the person said the reason why he microwaved it for 8 minutes was so I replied back to him, and then he replied back to me again on top of that, and he said that he microwaved it for 8 minutes for the kale because he would put it in soup and boil it for 2 hours. I'm like, but still, putting kale for 2 hours in a soup is still not good too, because you're evaporating the nutrients and the leaves are getting all damaged and spoiled very quickly when they start turning from green to like yellowish brown. You're best to use kale at the very end when you're ready to eat your soup. Then you can put the kale in fresh if you like, because that will keep it nice and green and very fresh nutrients, and not being evaporated when the nutrients in the leaves, in the kale leaves, gets cooked and spread out into the soup. And when it's boiling for too long, it's going to evaporate. So you don't want to lose your nutrients through evaporation. So, and when you cook veggies, you're like especially like potatoes and carrots are okay, because you get to cook that for a long time with your soup, you know, that is fine. But not stuff that are very light textured like kale, you know, because potatoes and carrots, they can be boiled for a longer period of time, even up to 2 hours, because they're more like, the potatoes are more starchier, but the carrots, they are still more intact, okay, and they're a little tougher to chew on, so those could be boiled longer. Potatoes, you don't need to boil them longer than 30 minutes because they cook very fast, but carrots, you can cook them a little longer than 30 minutes if you like 45 minutes good. But anyways, sorry about that, back to the topic. So what I'm trying to say is, when you microwave your food too long, it damages the food, okay? The radiation damages the food and it destroys the nutrients, okay? The longer you microwave your food, the more it's going to destroy the nutrients, okay? So 8 minutes for green kale, even if you have the cheaper, even if you have the cheapest microwave that's very low power, the person doesn't need to put it in for no more than 2 minutes, okay? If it's very low powered. But for mine, my microwave is 1200 watts, okay? For a bowl of, let's say for an 8-ounce bowl of green kale, chopped green kale, I only need to microwave for only like 30 minutes to 40 minutes. That's good enough already. But sometimes I would microwave it with my rice and my meat, you know, and I would heat my food up for like a minute and a half or a minute and 15 seconds, you know, and my green kale is ready fantastic and steam cooked with the meal. Okay, so you don't need to overdo it on the veggies because it will destroy the nutrients. And people will be like, how do you destroy nutrients? Well, they don't get as destroyed as bad as when you warm up your food stovetop, it doesn't destroy the nutrients from the veggies as much. But when you microwave it, there's something with the radiation that affects the nutrients in the food that destroys it even more. So it's really interesting. I'll bring this up. Someone had put a message on Facebook, and I read this like a year ago. It's always been in my mind. People would wonder, if you microwave your water, you know how like if you want a cup of tea or coffee, or if you want to make soup, you normally would, or heat up your soup, you know, either make your soup fresh or reheating your food, okay? Doing it stovetop was pretty much the traditional standard way before microwaves were even invented, okay? So now that microwaves are so popular, people are wondering, does the radiation destroy the nutrients in the food? And people are not sure about that. So I believe someone made a test on water, right? The person used regular tap water, or I think it was regular tap water, or I wasn't sure if it was from a bought water bottle from a grocery store. Either it was filtered water or it was just regular tap water, okay? And the other test was to compare to was microwaved water, okay? So the person was trying to grow plants, okay? So the person had poured water that is not microwaved, so it's just regular water, unaffected, okay, and unboiled. And so the person used regular water to water the plant, and that plant was growing just fine. But then the person had microwaved the water to a point that it's hot, and once it cools down to room temperature, then the person would use that same water and water the plants, okay? The same type of plants. Everything was the same, except for the water that was regular water, unboiled, unmicrowaved, and the other one was just microwaved water that had cooled down, okay? So what happened was the plant was growing at a normal rate with the regular water, okay? And and then the other plant was not growing well at all. It was barely even growing. It wasn't growing much at all, pretty much. And it showed that when the water was being microwaved, and even after it cooled down to water the plants, for some odd reason, the radiation affected the quality of the water. And so the plant was not growing properly. I mean, that scientific type of little fun testing of the plants really shows how scary it could be if we eat microwaved foods too much, because it destroys the quality of the nutrients in your food, and we eat it. It's pretty much not eating healthy foods much anymore. I mean, microwaving is so fast, it's so much quicker and easier, not much mess. I mean, doing stovetop, heating up your food or cooking your food, is a lot of work, a lot of dishes to clean, and a lot of time to warm up food, you know. And so, but you know, like what I'm trying to say is, if you really, really want to microwave your food or reheat it or cook stuff in it, make sure you try to cook it at as less time as possible and not cook it too extra long, because that will destroy your food the longer that it is microwaved. Just word of advice there. Okay, so I've told the person 8 minutes is way too long. You're damaging the nutrients in your green kale. And for me, I said I warm mine up as little as 30 minutes. I warm up my kale as little as 30 seconds or up to 2 minutes. If I'm warming up with my food, I'll microwave it for 2 minutes or 1.5 minutes for my food, because mine's a very high-powered microwave. Okay, so that's it for now. Thanks for watching.